Stephanie Dupuy with Dupuy team at Keller Williams West Sound in Silverdale, and
Cassandra Lopez, Dupuy team at Keller Williams West Sound in Silverdale.
And today we're going to talk with you about the purpose of a broker, a real estate broker, and how it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
Not that we're really old enough to have lived that, but we experienced the side effects of that.
Yeah.
Briefly, Kitsap County stats. Here's this week's stats in the pink. And as you're seeing, 410 for residential inventory. We are heading down into critical territory. Cassie and I were just talking.
Yeah.
The lowest you remember is
Like 325.
325. Yeah, and I think my memory, I remember 399.
Yeah, and then it bumped up into like the 600s, and now it's going like
Now
back down.
yeah.
For some perspective, Steph and I have been licensed about the same amount of time, about 6 years. And when we first got in the industry 6 years ago, this was like 1,300. So
And that was low.
The old time, that wasn't even a balance.
Yeah, the old time agents were like, "Oh my gosh, this is the lowest inventory. This is crazy. It's so low." And they were telling us then that typical inventory in our area was 2,000 homes on market for Kitsap County at the time, and so we were just a little over 50% of inventory. So to be at 410 when inventory is typically around 1,800, 2,000.
Yeah, and there are more homes in existence now than there were when there were 2,000 homes on the market.
Yeah, population's
So
higher.
think about that.
So here's what we're hearing out in the field this week. It's kind of this week's market tidbit. Several listing appointments this week, and the sellers had the same experience that they shared with us. They interviewed several agents, and they said that the agents weren't able to find comps for their value. They weren't able to provide a home value. So here's the thing. I'm going to back up too. They're also told that the market is not a good time to sell. It's a difficult market. It's a difficult market for buyers, and it's an awesome market for sellers because there's no homes to sell.
Yeah.
So there's no competition for sellers.
Yeah.
This is a time to sell. So sell your home. We will find comps. Call us. We'll find you comps.
Yeah.
Have you
That's
ever
a head scratcher.
Have you ever not found comps for a house?
Not only that, but it's like an agent is literally taking themselves out of the running.
Which is great for us.
Great for us because we can find comps.
We'll
but
find
it's
comps.
like
And
I
we'll
can't
price
sell your
home
house because we can't
accurately.
find comps and it's a down market.
No. We will find you comps, and you should sell your house.
Yes.
So give us a call at, what's your phone number?
360-710-6641.
Yes. Call that number.
Yeah. And comps are, we may not find your exact footprint of home or something, but it's the best available. And we've gotten good at getting a little creative on how we come up with that.
Yeah, so what we do, there's criteria that we use, and we'll go over that in a listing consult, and then you make adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very logical process, and it's very accurate. It's within a range. You can't nail the numbers within a range. So that's how you handle it in this market. So here's today's topic. Today's topic is, what is a broker and how it's changed?
And it's like, everybody knows you need one, but why? And what services does a broker provide you?
Yeah, so what's the definition of a broker? So you hear interchangeably out in the field, you hear, I need a real estate agent. Some people are called brokers, some are called agents. And in Washington State, everybody's a broker, okay? Several years ago, state law changed, and they made agents brokers and increased the education required by a little bit. So we're all brokers at this point.
I like to say, as a broker, my job is to facilitate the fair exchange of real property from seller to buyer, and that's it.
Yeah, it's that simple.
And there's a whole lot that goes into that, but that's the simplified, comprehensive version.
Yeah. Lock into that for a moment, because I think as a culture,
before there were so many laws and contracts were one page.
Yeah, really, seriously, because contracts used to be one page. A couple decades ago, which really wasn't that long ago. Agents were more concierge, lackeys.
Take you out to lunch.
Bring
you donuts.
Yeah, pick you up from the ferry. Maybe run you to the grocery store. that type of thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean your broker can't become your friend, because we often do, because it's a very intimate experience to do such a large transaction with someone. However, this day and age, real estate transaction in Washington State is becoming very complicated, and you need a broker, not a concierge.
Yeah.
I would be concerned as a consumer and as a client if, my agent was spending more time running errands for me than actually focused on my transaction and how the transaction was going. So why is this something that a client or somebody who's looking to solicit the services of a real estate broker, why should they be concerned about this and looking at this?
Well, first of all, I think that those unexpected extras, they're kind and they're fun, and they keep things lively during a stressful transaction. But I think if it goes too far, what happens is the client starts to expect those unexpected extras, and they stop paying attention to how good of a job their broker is actually doing for them. I would rather say to my client, I'm sorry, I can't take you out to lunch today because I'm in a continuing education class, or I'm at a legal symposium, or
is continuing education at this point, if you're a broker in Washington State, because our contracts are 20, 30 pages long at this point, is continuing education going to a legal symposium important?
I think always, because we are, as licensees, as holders of Department of Licensing, state issued licenses, we are actually allowed to practice law within a very limited scope of real estate.
Okay, stop, time out, repeat. Let's rewind and replay that. What are we licensed to do?
Practice law within a limited scope of real estate.
Your broker is licensed to practice law in a very limited, narrow.
Practice law like a lawyer.
We're held to the standard of a lawyer.
Yes, we are.
We have to be very careful what we're doing. Our job is to protect you. Protect you.
So when we're writing contracts for you, we're thinking 10, 20, 30 years ahead. If this transaction, if these documents ever end up in court, have I protected my client to my fullest ability to be able to protect them if it ends up in front of a judge? Because obviously we can't say what a judge would say. That's way out of our scope.
Yeah.
But
because we're not attorneys. No way.
Yeah.
No, we're licensed to do this we're basically licensed to fill in blanks in contracts, and we have to understand what the contracts mean.
And we have to educate you on what you are agreeing to.
Within our scope. Okay.
Because even though we facilitate the transaction, we are not actually decision makers or parties to the contract. Buyer and seller are. So buyer and seller are the decision makers. You guys are the ones encumbering yourselves with the obligations to fulfill the terms of the contract. And we are here to make sure that you do what you said you were going to do, so we can keep you out of hot water if something comes up later.
Yeah, we don't want you to buy your house or sell your house and then get that phone call that you never want to get in a year or 5 years, or within that statute of limitations period. Here's the other thing. We want to do a transaction for you that you're going to feel good about 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Okay? That takes a lot of thinking through things, and you need time to think. You need to look through the transaction. You need to be watching things. You need to have an eagle eye on stuff. You need to be observant. You need to have experience. You need to be thinking through it. You need to do it with heart. And you don't need to have distractions and be chasing squirrels. And so your best thing to do as a client, if you want to be served the best, is to stay out of the way. Yes, ask questions. Yes, be thoughtful. Yes, get the information you need. But be careful. Be a team player with your broker. That means most brokers who are working really hard are getting up at 5 a.m. and they're working really hard, long, late hours. So be respectful. Try not to call them at 7 o'clock on Friday night with a question and then blowing up their phone because you want to know,
Do you know where the main water shutoff is located?
Good one. Because we can really
that could wait until Monday morning.
No one's going to die.
Well, the thing is, lenders, for the most part, and escrow companies and title companies, attorneys,
Yeah.
they don't work on weekends.
They don't.
So whatever work is being done for you on the weekend really cannot go into the transaction until Monday when everybody else is on board.
Exactly.
So, a professional works Monday through Friday. We can set our own hours, of course,
Yeah.
and then weekends by appointment if we choose.
Yes.
But, as a professional, we can have everything done between that 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
And brokers are already working after hours with buyers in this market right now because the inventory is so low.
Mhm.
If a house comes on market, we are responding
Yeah,
ASAP. So
we
we're already
really are.
going 24/7.
Yeah.
So if you're a seller or your house is in escrow, that's a time when the transaction goes to Monday through Friday
Mhm.
at that point. So that's kind of how we can be teammates
Mhm.
in this real estate market and help each other preserve our energy and get the most for you.
Yep.
So this video is about getting the most for you in this market and how you can help your broker do that and how you can choose a broker who can protect you and help you make a decision long term.
Yep.
Many years out.
I think a lot of, the Monday through Friday, just to piggyback on that for a second, a lot of your transaction, whether you're a buyer or a seller, 90% of it goes on behind the scenes without you even knowing what's happening.
It's true.
And that doesn't mean you're being withheld information. It just means that stuff can just flow along while you're over here making decisions about X, Y, or Z. Stuff's working in the background for you to make sure that your transaction closes successfully. We will 100% be transparent with what you do need to know and help you make the decisions that would affect your transaction.
Exactly. You hired a professional. Stay out of their way on some things, and when you need to know stuff, trust they're going to let you know. And if you have questions, it's fair to ask. We're not saying don't ask questions. Ask questions.
Yeah.
We want to educate you, and also use some judgment.
Some
consideration,
courtesy. Yeah,
courtesy.
common courtesy.
Yeah, be a good client, and we'll be good brokers. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to see them below. Thank you for sharing our videos. We've really enjoyed the interaction the last few weeks. And subscribe to our Facebook page and our YouTube account. And we look forward to seeing you next week.